My friend, I want you to take a deep breath right now. Close your eyes for a moment and remind yourself, you are still here. You have survived every dark night, every heartbreak, every disappointment that once made you question whether you'd ever smile again. Yet here you stand, breathing, living, and carrying within you the power to create a new beginning. Peace is not the absence of challenges, but the ability to remain calm in the midst of them. In the journey of life, people often confuse activity with progress, noise with success, and tension with passion. They believe that to achieve greatness, one must always be in a state of relentless struggle, constantly pushing, grinding, and racing against time. But history and wisdom both tell a different story. True power does not come from a restless mind. It comes from one that is centered, balanced, and at peace. A calm mind has the power to think clearly, act decisively, and persist patiently when others give up in chaos. When the mind is at peace, faith becomes stronger, decisions become wiser, and life flows in harmony with purpose. A man or woman who has learned the art of peace possesses a power that few can understand. This peace is not something you find outside yourself. It is something you build within through discipline, understanding, and trust. Life will always present challenges, but your response determines whether those challenges control you or strengthen you. When you approach a storm with calmness, you are not denying its reality. You are simply refusing to let it steal your inner stability. The world may shake, but you remain grounded. This inner stability is what Napoleon Hill described as power of thought under control. It is the ability to direct your emotions and energy in a way that serves your purpose rather than destroys your focus. Peace is not passivity. It is not giving up or ignoring reality. It is strength under control, the quiet confidence that no matter how uncertain things appear, you can handle them. The person who panics in difficulty is like a sailor who abandons his ship at the first sight of a storm. The one who remains calm, however, uses his knowledge, steadies his hand, and sails through the waves with determination. That is what peace does. It gives you mastery over your environment, over your emotions, and over your destiny. When you are calm, you are powerful, because calmness allows you to think. It allows you to hear the whisper of intuition that gets drowned out by noise and fear. Most people make poor decisions not because they are incapable, but because they act from a place of anxiety rather than awareness. Anxiety clouds judgment, fear narrows perspective, but peace expands vision. It opens the mind to solutions that are invisible to those who are panicking. It transforms confusion into clarity. It helps you see that every difficulty contains a seed of opportunity, just as Napoleon Hill often taught, that in every adversity lies an equal or greater benefit, waiting to be discovered by the mind that is calm enough to look for it. The world we live in constantly pressures us to rush. We are told that success belongs to those who never stop, who grind endlessly, who compete until exhaustion. But success that costs your peace is not success. It is self-destruction disguised as achievement. The truly powerful individual understands that rest, reflection, and relaxation are not weaknesses. They are fuel. When you relax your mind, you give space for creativity to breathe and wisdom to rise. Great inventors, thinkers, and leaders throughout history have reached their breakthroughs not in moments of stress, but in moments of peace. Thomas Edison found inspiration not while worrying about failure, but while quietly observing possibilities. Hill himself wrote about the importance of stillness and faith as mental states through which ideas and opportunities flow freely. Peace is also a magnet for good energy. When you are calm, you attract clarity, supportive people, and better circumstances. Others feel drawn to your steadiness because in a restless world, peace is rare. Think of how a calm leader can guide an entire team through crisis simply by not losing composure. That calmness spreads just like panic spreads. You have the power to influence the energy around you by mastering your own. The one who keeps their mind steady in chaos becomes a light for others who are lost in confusion. But how do you cultivate this peace? It begins with awareness, understanding that worry changes nothing but your health and focus. Then it grows through discipline, training your thoughts to dwell on solutions rather than problems, on faith rather than fear. Gratitude is another key. When you practice gratitude, even for small things, your mind becomes attuned to abundance rather than scarcity. And above all, faith. Faith that there is a higher order to life, that even when things seem uncertain, there is a purpose unfolding beyond your understanding. Faith replaces panic with patience and despair with determination. When you face challenges, remind yourself that tension weakens you, but peace strengthens you. A mind in turmoil cannot create. A mind in harmony can manifest anything. So when life feels heavy, do not resist it with fear. Breathe deeply, quiet your thoughts, and say to yourself, I am calm, I am guided, I am in control of my mind. That simple affirmation realigns your energy. It reminds you that you are not a victim of circumstance, but the master of your response. The strongest people in the world are not those who shout the loudest, but those who can remain silent and focused when the world expects them to break. They do not let chaos enter their hearts. They move with purpose, they speak with confidence, and they think with clarity. And because they are calm, they are powerful. They achieve what others call impossible, not because they are lucky, but because their peace gives them strength to see possibilities where others see problems. So whenever life becomes overwhelming, do not rush. Do not fight the storm with panic. Stand still within yourself and remember that peace is not weakness, it is your greatest weapon. Through peace, you find wisdom. Through wisdom, you find power. And through power, you find the ability to shape your life exactly as you desire. Every setback in life carries within it the seed of a greater comeback, though in the moment of pain it rarely feels that way. When something we've worked for collapses, when someone we trusted walks away, or when our dreams seem to crumble before our eyes, the natural instinct is to believe that life has turned against us. But the truth, which time and reflection always reveal, is that adversity is not an enemy. It is a teacher, a sculptor shaping us for something higher. The most powerful souls you will ever meet are not those who have never fallen, but those who have fallen deeply and learned how to rise stronger each time. When life pushes you to your knees, it is not to destroy you, but to position you for renewal. Every failure is a preparation for strength. Every disappointment a lesson in endurance, and every delay a divine rearrangement that aligns you with something far greater than what you initially sought. Think back on the moments you thought you could not survive, yet somehow you did. Those moments were not wasted. They were the crucibles in which your resilience was forged. They taught you patience, humility, and the ability to adapt. They refined your character in ways that comfort never could. The law of success that Napoleon Hill often spoke about reminds us that every defeat, temporary though it may seem, contains within it the potential for advancement. But only those who refuse to quit can unlock that potential. The comeback is not automatic. It is earned through persistence and perspective. When you face a setback, you have two choices: to interpret it as proof of your limitations or as preparation for your evolution. The first choice weakens the spirit, the second empowers it. Those who rise again do so not because they are untouched by pain, but because they choose to see pain as purpose. There is a rhythm to life, a balance that ensures that no winter lasts forever. The same force that allows flowers to bloom after the cold ensures that your spirit will rise after defeat. But for that to happen, you must shift your focus from what is lost to what is learned. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? That small change in mindset transforms tragedy into wisdom. You begin to see that closed doors protect you from paths not meant for you, and delays protect you from premature success. The universe does not deny you, it redirects you, and in that redirection lies your comeback. Greatness is often disguised in the garments of failure. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb. Each failure taught him something new about what would not work, bringing him closer to what would. His persistence transformed defeat into discovery. Similarly, every time you fall short, you are gathering the data, the discipline, and the determination necessary for your breakthrough. Success rarely comes to those who never fall. It comes to those who learn how to rise with greater intelligence each time they do. It is easy to celebrate victory, but it is in loss that your true character is tested. Anyone can remain positive when life flows smoothly, but only a strong spirit can maintain faith when everything falls apart. The difference between those who stay defeated and those who rise lies in how they interpret the setback. The defeated mind says, this is the end. The victorious mind says, this is the beginning of something greater. The latter is the attitude that transforms adversity into advantage. Every setback offers you three gifts: awareness, adaptability, and appreciation. Awareness helps you see what needs to change. Adaptability helps you evolve with new wisdom. Appreciation helps you value what you once took for granted. Without pain, these lessons would remain hidden beneath the comfort of routine. You would never grow beyond what is familiar. So when life challenges you, do not resist the process. Growth is rarely comfortable, but it is always worth it. The same pressure that turns coal into diamond is the pressure that turns your weaknesses into strengths. Remember that the comeback is not just about regaining what was lost. It's about becoming someone new, someone wiser, someone stronger. Often we pray for life to return to how it was, but real growth means understanding that you can never go back. You can only go forward. The purpose of the storm is to clear your path, not to destroy your journey. When the dust settles, you realize that everything that left was never meant to stay, and everything that broke was clearing space for something better to be built. When faced with a setback, the first thing to do is to silence the voice of defeat in your mind. Doubt will whisper that you are not capable, that this is the end, that others are succeeding while you are stuck. Do not listen. The moment you start believing that your story is over, you close the door on possibility. Instead, remind yourself that every great story includes struggle. The hero is not defined by his comfort, but by his courage to stand again after being knocked down. Your strength is not proven by how easily you win, but by how persistently you continue. Those who have come back from their darkest moments often discover a deeper peace, a clearer purpose, and a stronger faith. They no longer chase validation from the world. They move with quiet conviction. They know that failure is not final. They know that the same power that guided them through past storms will guide them again. And they understand that what once felt like the end was actually the beginning of a better chapter. So, when you find yourself in the valley of defeat, remember that the mountain still stands ahead. You are being prepared to climb higher than before. Let your pain teach you patience, your loss teach you gratitude, and your failure teach you faith. For in the grand design of life, no fall is wasted. Every setback is a signal that your story is far from over. It is life's way of strengthening your wings before your next flight. And when you rise again, and you will understand that the fall was never a curse, but the hidden blessing that made your comeback possible. Faith is the invisible bridge between your current reality and your ultimate destiny. It is that quiet inner voice that whispers, "Keep going," even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. Faith turns uncertainty into opportunity by transforming fear into courage and doubt into determination. It is not blind belief. It is a conscious decision to trust that something greater is at work in your life, even when you cannot yet see the evidence. Life will always present moments where the path ahead seems unclear. You will face situations where logic fails, plans collapse, and control slips from your hands. In those moments, faith becomes your anchor. It steadies your heart when your mind trembles and reminds you that the absence of clarity does not mean the absence of purpose. Every great dream, invention, and success story begins in the dark, long before results are visible. When a seed is planted in the soil, it disappears from sight. But that does not mean it is gone. It is growing roots beneath the surface, preparing for its season of bloom. Faith works the same way. It is trusting that something is happening within the unseen realm of your life, even when you cannot measure it. Without faith, most people give up in this hidden stage because they mistake silence for abandonment. But the universe often works in silence. It prepares you in stillness before revealing the reward. Faith is having the patience to wait while continuing to work, believe, and prepare. Napoleon Hill emphasized that faith is the starting point of all riches, material, spiritual, or emotional. He wrote that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The key word is believe. You may conceive a dream through imagination, but it is belief, faith, that transforms that dream into a living reality. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. When you doubt, you cut the connection between your desire and its manifestation. But when you believe, even without visible proof, you activate the forces of persistence, creativity, and courage that lead to achievement. Faith is the fuel of resilience. To turn uncertainty into opportunity, you must learn to see beyond the moment. Life is not just what you see. It is also what you trust. Those who live by sight are easily discouraged, for they base their confidence on what they can measure. Those who live by faith, however, understand that progress is often invisible in its early stages. A farmer does not dig up the soil every day to check if his seed is growing. He trusts the process. He waters, waits, and works with confidence that his labor will bear fruit. That is the essence of faith: consistent effort combined with unwavering trust. When challenges arise, faith helps you see possibilities where others see obstacles. It opens the mind to new paths and inspires action when logic says to quit. Many people stop just short of success because they cannot handle uncertainty. But faith transforms uncertainty into adventure. It allows you to embrace the unknown not as a threat, but as a field of new potential. Every invention, discovery, or breakthrough in history was born from someone who dared to believe before the evidence appeared. The Wright brothers had faith in flight when the world mocked their dream. Edison had faith in light when others only saw darkness. These individuals understood that faith is not about ignoring difficulty, it is about seeing beyond it. Faith is also the antidote to fear. Fear and faith cannot occupy the same space because one focuses on loss while the other focuses on possibility. When fear tells you that you will fail, faith reminds you that every step, even the uncertain ones, is leading you somewhere necessary. Fear looks at the problem, faith looks at the promise. Fear paralyzes, faith propels. The moment you shift from asking, "What if I fail?" to "What if this works?" your entire energy changes. Faith creates movement, and movement creates results. To cultivate faith, you must train your mind daily. Faith grows through repetition, through speaking life over your circumstances, and through remembering how far you have already come. When you reflect on past challenges that once seemed impossible but were eventually overcome, you reinforce the truth that you have never truly been abandoned. Something has always guided you, strengthened you, and carried you forward. That same power will continue to do so if you allow it. Faith is like a muscle. It becomes stronger with use. Each time you choose to trust instead of panic, you expand your capacity for calm and courage. Another important aspect of faith is gratitude. Gratitude transforms uncertainty into opportunity because it keeps your focus on what is working rather than what is lacking. When you are grateful, even for small blessings, your energy shifts from fear to faith. You begin to expect good things rather than worry about bad ones. This expectation acts as a magnet, attracting opportunities, people, and ideas that align with your belief. Faith and gratitude work hand in hand. One trusts in what's coming, and the other appreciates what's already here. The universe responds to energy, and faith emits one of the highest vibrations. When you live in faith, you radiate confidence, hope, and positive expectation. This energy naturally draws better experiences into your life. Opportunities seem to appear at the right time, doors open unexpectedly, and guidance arrives just when you need it. This is not coincidence. It is the law of belief in action. You attract what you are ready to receive. Faith makes you ready. There will always be times when fear whispers louder than faith. That is when you must choose deliberately to believe anyway. Even if you have to take trembling steps forward, take them. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the face of it. When you move with faith, even in uncertainty, you send a signal to life that you are ready for more, and life responds accordingly. In the end, faith is not merely a spiritual concept, it is a practical power. It allows you to stay calm in chaos, to see opportunity in challenge, and to keep walking when others stop. It does not mean everything will be easy, it means you will be guided through whatever comes. Every great destiny requires faith, because faith bridges the gap between where you are and where you are meant to be. When you walk with faith, you stop fighting the flow of life and start flowing with it. That is when uncertainty turns into opportunity, and your belief becomes the force that shapes your future. Comparison is one of the most silent and destructive habits of the human mind. It robs people of peace, joy, and gratitude by convincing them that their progress is never enough. In the age of constant visibility, where we can see everyone's achievements, possessions, and happiness with a single glance, comparison has become a disease that poisons even the most sincere hearts. Yet the truth is simple and eternal. Every journey unfolds in its own time, and every person blooms in their own season. The rose and the lily do not compete for beauty, they simply grow. each adding its own fragrance to the garden of life. When you truly understand this, you begin to free yourself from the chains of comparison and rediscover the serenity that comes with patience. The danger of comparison is that it distorts your perception of reality. You only see what others choose to show, never the struggle beneath their smiles or the sacrifice behind their success. You compare your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel, and in doing so, you convince yourself that you are falling behind. But life is not a race. It is a journey uniquely designed for your soul's growth. What is meant for one person cannot be stolen by another, and what belongs to you will never miss its way. When you embrace this truth, patience begins to replace envy, and peace replaces insecurity. Patience is not passivity. It does not mean waiting idly for life to happen. It means trusting the timing of your own unfolding. The universe does not rush creation. It took billions of years for the stars to form, thousands of years for rivers to carve their paths, and a lifetime for a tree to grow tall and bear fruit. Likewise, your dreams require time, effort, and maturity. Rushing them or comparing them to someone else's progress only leads to frustration. When you plant a seed, you do not demand it to bloom overnight. You water it, nurture it, and have faith that nature will do its work. The same principle applies to your goals, relationships, and personal growth. When you compare yourself to others, you disconnect from your own power. You stop seeing what you already have and focus only on what you lack. Gratitude disappears, and with it, your ability to attract abundance. The mind that is always comparing cannot be content, and the heart that is never content cannot find peace. True joy comes not from being ahead of others, but from being aligned with your purpose. Each soul has a path, a rhythm, and a purpose designed specifically for its growth. Some are meant to bloom early, others are meant to bloom later, with greater depth and wisdom. The beauty of life lies in its diversity. No two journeys are the same, and that is what makes each one sacred. Patience restores joy by teaching you to appreciate the process rather than fixate on the outcome. It reminds you that life's greatest treasures are not found in achievements, but in moments of growth, learning, and becoming. When you slow down and focus on your own journey, you begin to notice how far you've come. You start to value small victories, personal progress, and inner peace more than public applause. You realize that the only person you need to be better than is the version of yourself from yesterday. This simple shift in focus transforms your energy completely. Instead of competing with others, you begin to cooperate with life. Napoleon Hill often wrote that success is a matter of mindset before it becomes a matter of achievement. If your mind is filled with jealousy, doubt, or impatience, you block the very flow of abundance that could bring you success. Comparison is a declaration of scarcity. Patience is an act of faith. When you are patient, you affirm that what you desire is already on its way, even if you cannot yet see it. You trust that your efforts will bear fruit in due time, and this trust gives you peace. Those who master patience live in a state of quiet confidence, unshaken by the pace of others. They move steadily, knowing that haste makes waste and that consistency outlasts competition. Another danger of comparison is that it causes people to abandon their authenticity. In trying to keep up with others, many lose sight of who they truly are. They chase dreams that do not belong to them, adopt lifestyles that do not fulfill them, and measure their worth by standards that are not their own. This leads to exhaustion and emptiness, because living someone else's life will never bring satisfaction. Patience, on the other hand, allows you to stay true to yourself. It helps you listen to your inner calling and move at the pace that aligns with your spirit. It allows you to say, I am exactly where I am meant to be, and to mean it. When you stop comparing and start trusting, you regain your joy. You realize that life is not a competition, but a collaboration of souls, each contributing something unique to the world. The success of another person does not diminish yours. It expands what is possible for everyone. If someone else can achieve greatness, so can you. Their victory is not your defeat. It is proof that success is attainable. A patient mind celebrates others because it understands that there is enough for all. Peace returns when you no longer measure your worth by the pace of others. You begin to wake up each day with gratitude for your own journey, no matter how slow or uncertain it feels. You start to trust that what is meant for you cannot be delayed forever, and that your current season, even if quiet or difficult, is preparing you for something greater. Life has a divine order. Flowers do not bloom all at once, and neither do people. Some of the most beautiful transformations happen in silence, beneath the surface, away from the world's applause. When you practice patience and release comparison, your energy shifts from anxiety to alignment. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer envy, you inspire. You move forward peacefully, knowing that you are growing at the right pace for your destiny. And when your time comes, you will not need to compete or compare, for your success will carry the quiet confidence of one who has trusted the process. That is the secret of lasting joy, to live not in comparison but in contentment, not in haste but in harmony with your own divine timing. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood forces in human life. Many people think that forgiving someone means excusing what they did or pretending that the pain never happened. But true forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about freeing yourself. It is an act of emotional liberation, a conscious decision to no longer carry the weight of anger, resentment, or betrayal. When you hold on to pain, you become imprisoned by it. Your energy becomes tied to the past. Your thoughts are clouded by bitterness, and your heart becomes too heavy to move forward. But when you forgive, you release yourself from that invisible chain. You take back control of your peace. You reclaim the power that was lost to resentment. Every human being experiences hurt. People disappoint, betray, and abandon each other. Sometimes it happens through intention, and other times through ignorance or fear. Whatever the reason, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control whether you allow their actions to define your inner world. Forgiveness does not mean that what happened was right. It means you choose not to let it poison your future. When you forgive, you are not saying, "I approve of what was done." You are saying, "I refuse to be bound by it any longer." That is the essence of emotional freedom. The truth is, holding on to resentment only hurts you. The person who wronged you may have long forgotten the incident or moved on, while you remain stuck in the same emotional moment, reliving it over and over. Every time you replay the memory, you reopen the wound. You allow the pain to continue long after the original event has passed. Forgiveness, therefore, is not a gift to the offender. It is a gift to yourself. It is the decision to heal the wound instead of nurturing it. It is the recognition that your peace is worth more than your pride, and your future is too important to sacrifice for the sake of holding a grudge. Forgiveness is not weakness. It takes tremendous courage to forgive. It requires strength to look at the pain honestly, acknowledge it, and then consciously release it. Weakness holds on to bitterness because it is easier to blame than to heal. Strength chooses forgiveness because it understands that revenge or resentment can never bring true satisfaction. Napoleon Hill taught that negative emotions such as hatred and anger destroy your creative energy. They block the mind from thinking clearly and rob you of enthusiasm, joy, and inspiration. When you carry hatred, you are allowing someone else's actions to continue controlling your state of being. Forgiveness is the act of reclaiming that control. It is the moment when you say, "You no longer have power over my peace." Forgiveness also opens the door to inner growth. Pain, when transformed through forgiveness, becomes wisdom. You begin to see that every wound carries a lesson. Perhaps the betrayal taught you discernment. Perhaps the heartbreak taught you self-worth. Perhaps the disappointment reminded you to rely more on yourself and less on others for validation. Each experience, no matter how painful, has something valuable hidden within it. Forgiveness allows you to extract that wisdom instead of staying stuck in the wound. When you let go of resentment, the energy that was once trapped in anger becomes available for creativity, love, and new beginnings. You begin to live again fully and freely. Forgiveness also has a spiritual dimension. When you forgive, you align yourself with the higher law of life, the law that governs growth, renewal, and balance. Everything in nature lets go of what no longer serves it. Trees shed their leaves, rivers release old water, the sky clears after storms. Life constantly renews itself. But human beings, driven by ego, often resist this natural process. We cling to grudges because our pride tells us that to forgive is to lose. But in truth, Forgiveness is how we win. It is how we restore harmony with the flow of life. The moment you forgive, you release negative energy and make space for peace, love, and abundance to return. Some people find forgiveness difficult because they mistake it for reconciliation. Forgiveness does not always mean allowing someone back into your life. You can forgive someone deeply while still choosing to love them from a distance. Boundaries and forgiveness can coexist. The purpose of forgiveness is to heal your heart, not to erase your memory or force you to ignore wisdom. You can remember the lesson while releasing the pain. You can walk away with peace instead of anger. That is mature forgiveness, the kind that brings closure without bitterness. Forgiveness also involves forgiving yourself. Often, the hardest person to forgive is the one in the mirror. People punish themselves endlessly for past mistakes, wrong decisions, or lost opportunities. But self-condemnation is just another form of bondage. You cannot change the past, you can only learn from it. Every human being has failed, hurt others, and fallen short of their own standards. What matters is not the mistake, but the lesson learned from it. Forgiving yourself means accepting that you were doing the best you could with the awareness you had at that time. When you know better, you do better. Guilt has no place in a heart that has chosen growth. When you forgive yourself and others, you unlock inner peace. The mind becomes lighter, the heart becomes freer, and life becomes brighter. You begin to see beauty where there was once bitterness. You start to notice how your energy shifts, how your sleep improves, how your body feels less tense, and how your outlook on life becomes more hopeful. This is not just emotional healing, it is spiritual transformation. Forgiveness renews you from within. It purifies your consciousness and raises your vibration. You start to attract better experiences because your energy is no longer anchored in pain. The journey of forgiveness is not always quick or easy. Some wounds take time to heal, and that's okay. Forgiveness is a process, not a single act. It begins with a decision to let go of resentment and grows each day as you choose peace over pain. You may have to remind yourself again and again, I forgive, I release, I am free. But with each repetition, the emotional grip weakens, the chains loosen, the heart opens. In the end, forgiveness is the highest form of wisdom. It means choosing peace over pride, healing over hate, and freedom over fear. When you forgive, you step into your true power. You no longer live as a prisoner of your past, but as a creator of your future. You realize that nothing anyone did can destroy your ability to love, to grow, and to begin again. And that realization is the essence of true liberation. Gratitude is the golden key that unlocks the beauty of life. It is the quiet awareness that despite everything that has gone wrong, so much has still gone right. Gratitude transforms how you see the world. It turns ordinary moments into blessings, difficulties into lessons, and chaos into order. When you cultivate gratitude, you begin to understand that happiness is not found in the absence of problems, but in the presence of appreciation. It's not about having everything you want, but recognizing the value of what you already have. The mind that is filled with gratitude cannot be consumed by bitterness, fear, or lack, because gratitude and negativity cannot exist in the same space. Gratitude elevates your spirit, sharpens your perspective, and fills your life with quiet power. Many people chase happiness as if it is a destination far away, something to be reached after success, wealth, or recognition. But gratitude reveals that happiness has always been here, hidden in the present moment, waiting to be noticed. It lives in the sunlight that enters your window each morning, in the breath that fills your lungs, and the laughter of someone you love, and even in the lessons that pain brings. When you practice gratitude daily, you train your mind to focus on abundance rather than deficiency. Instead of asking, what is missing? You begin to ask, what is already here that I can celebrate? This shift changes everything. It transforms the tone of your thoughts, the energy of your emotions, and the quality of your life. Gratitude is not blind optimism. It does not deny pain or pretend everything is perfect. Rather, it is the strength to find light even in the darkest places. It is the ability to look at your struggles and say, even though this is hard, I am grateful for what it is teaching me. Every setback carries a seed of growth, and gratitude is the water that helps it sprout. Life will never be free of challenges, but gratitude allows you to walk through them without losing your peace. It reminds you that every storm passes, every wound heals, and every ending brings the beginning of something new. Napoleon Hill often wrote that gratitude is a magnet for abundance. When you focus on what you already have, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready for more. The law of attraction responds to your dominant state of mind. If you constantly think in terms of scarcity, what you lack, what you fear, you attract more lack. But if you think in terms of gratitude, what you appreciate, what you value, you attract more reasons to be thankful. Gratitude, then, is not only a spiritual virtue, but also a practical tool for success. It raises your vibration, sharpens your creativity, and strengthens your faith in life's goodness. There is a deep peace that comes with gratitude. When you truly live with a thankful heart, the noise of comparison fades away. You stop measuring your worth by what others have or what you have yet to achieve. Gratitude grounds you in the present. It tells you that you are enough, that this moment is enough. And from that place of contentment, you become more powerful than ever. Because contentment is not complacency. It is the foundation for inspired action. When you appreciate what you have, you naturally want to give more, create more, and become more. Gratitude fuels growth, not stagnation. It reminds you that life is already a gift, and your role is to make the most of it. Science even confirms what ancient wisdom has long known. Gratitude improves mental and physical health. It lowers stress, strengthens relationships, and increases resilience. People who practice gratitude regularly are happier, sleep better, and recover more quickly from adversity. This is because gratitude changes your brain chemistry. It releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals associated with joy and fulfillment. Every time you express genuine appreciation, your brain creates new neural pathways that make it easier to feel positive emotions in the future. Gratitude literally rewires your mind for happiness. But gratitude must be practiced consciously. It's not enough to think of it as a concept. It must become a habit. Start by acknowledging small blessings each day. The taste of your favorite meal, the sound of rain, the kindness of a stranger. Write them down if you can. When you express thanks for even the simplest things, your awareness of life's richness expands. Soon, you begin to see beauty in moments you once overlooked. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, from what's missing to what's present, and in that shift, peace is born. There will be times when gratitude feels difficult, when life hurts, when dreams collapse, when nothing seems fair. In those moments, gratitude becomes an act of faith. It is saying, I may not understand why this is happening, but I trust that something good will come from it. That kind of gratitude does not come from comfort. It comes from wisdom. It comes from knowing that life is always working in your favor, even when you cannot see it yet. And when the pain fades, you often realize that your gratitude during the struggle was what carried you through it. Gratitude also connects you deeply to others. When you express sincere appreciation to the people around you, when you tell them how much they mean to you, you not only brighten their day, but strengthen your bond with them. Gratitude creates harmony in relationships because it focuses on what is good in others instead of what is lacking. It softens hearts, heals misunderstandings, and opens doors to compassion. A grateful person naturally becomes a source of light in any environment, uplifting everyone they encounter. Ultimately, gratitude is not just an emotion, it is a way of living. It's waking up each day and choosing to see life as a blessing, no matter what it brings. It's realizing that every breath is a gift, every challenge a lesson, every person a teacher, and every moment an opportunity to grow. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into extraordinary because it awakens you to the miracle of being alive. When you live in gratitude, you stop waiting for life to become beautiful. You start seeing that it already is.